Changing lives in New York and Nasdaq and beyond. Michael D. Butler, global book publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
I don't celebrate birthdays. I just don't celebrate birthdays. And I don't remember exactly why I quit celebrating birthdays. Maybe it was because on my 16th birthday, my parents happened to be both out of town on business trips. I mean, it was just my 16th birthday. I was getting my driver's license. Growing up on the farm in Oklahoma, my brother checked me out of school in third hour and took me to the DMV. Now, I'd studied hard for that test. I wanted to pass it. I wanted my freedom. And that was a Monday. And the reason I know it was a Monday is because the guy that did the test, he only did the test on Monday. And I was so proud. I came out and I had my picture, weighing 136 pounds, sophomore. Right there, I got my ticket to freedom. So he takes me to the Pizza Hut, and we're eating pizza, and we're celebrating. And I get to drive my car back to the school, and I get to drive my car home that day. We had planned it that way. But that night, it was quiet, and it was lonely, and it was empty in the house. There was no birthday song. There was no celebration or birthday gifts. And there was no birthday cake. My brother, who would go on to be valedictorian, would study every night in his room. He was in his room. There was no internet. There was no social media. There was nothing. It was just quiet. Maybe the reason I don't celebrate birthdays is when I turned 40, Dad calls me the day before my birthday and says, "Son, let's celebrate your birthday tomorrow." And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great. I've got a lot to celebrate. Let's do it." He said, "Tomorrow at your favorite restaurant, 12 noon. I said, "You bet. I'll see you there." Hang up the phone. The next morning, he shows up at the restaurant at 11:50. Dad was always early. He grew up on the dairy farm, and I was always right on time. So 12 o'clock came. I didn't show up. 12:05 comes. He's a little worried. He's texting and calling. It goes straight to voicemail. 12:15, he's like, "What's going on?" At 12:25, he calls the hospital. "Where's my son?" 12:45, he drives home to tell my mom, "Michael didn't show up." Where was I? Was I in the hospital? No. I was in jail. Because on the eve of my 40th birthday, I went to the bar alone to drink, got into a bar fight, and spent the night of my 40th birthday in jail. What was it about this self-sabotage that the pain was so great that a root of bitterness was growing in my heart at a subterranean level, affecting everything in my life and everyone that I touched in a negative way? I couldn't figure it out. This year, May 10th, I was all ready to celebrate my birthday. Very excited. Friends were coming over at 2 p.m. We had the whole thing planned out. And I hear a noise coming from my wife's bedroom. And I think, oh, maybe she's wrapping gifts. Maybe she's making a cake. And I go in and check on her. I say, "What's going on?" And she says, "I'm leaving." "Oh, where are you going? You going to town to get something?" "No, I'm leaving." "What do you mean you're leaving? Everybody's coming over at 2 o'clock today." And she says, "I'm leaving for good." She takes her suitcase, and as she goes to the front door, and she says, "And I'm not coming back." And she slams the door. And that was the last I heard from her. I'll never forget when I was 7 years old, I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I'm going to live to be 120. And I think in my subconscious mind, I knew I needed that much time to redeem the root of bitterness and create what my therapist called a root of blessing. My therapist said there's two things you need to do to reverse the curse of bitterness and create blessing in your family and to bring it back. And you need to forgive yourself and you need to celebrate." Well, I was good at forgiving myself because I had screwed up a lot and I forgave a lot. And she said, "Celebrate yourself, come on." And that was my theme song. And I sat there in jail and said, "I'm going to run a marathon this year." And Michael, Matthew, Joshua, and Jeremiah, my four sons, they stepped out of the spectator area in the last 3 miles. They ran with me in 2008 and crossed that finish line with me. And as I told my sons, I said, "Sons, I am celebrating your birthday, but guess what? Next year, I'm celebrating my birthday on May the 10th, and all of you are invited. Celebrate with me."